Tonight we're going to journey back over 2.5 millennia to one of history's most fascinating and brutal societies. We'll step into the bronze-fitted sandals of a Spartan warrior and experience what daily life was truly like in ancient Greece's most militaristic city-state. If you're enjoying these immersive historical journeys, I'd really appreciate a like or subscribe. I'm curious where you're listening from tonight, so drop a comment with your location and what time it is there. Now find yourself a comfortable position, take a slow, deep breath, and let your body sink into relaxation as we travel back in time together to ancient Sparta. Congratulations, you've just been born in the city-state of Sparta, sometime around 450 BCE. But unlike most newborns throughout history, your very survival hangs in the balance during these first crucial hours of life. The warm Mediterranean sun filters through the small window of the modest stone dwelling where your mother has just given birth to you. The smell of olive oil and herbs fills the air, mingling with the earthy scent of the clay vessels that line the walls. You're a boy, which in Sparta means your life will follow a very specific and unforgiving path, if you're allowed to live at all. Your mother holds you briefly, her calloused hands gentle despite their strength. She's a Spartan woman herself, trained from childhood in athletics and warfare preparation, her body conditioned to produce healthy offspring for the state. Her dark hair is cropped short in the Spartan fashion, and her simple woolen chitin speaks to the practical nature of Spartan society. Within hours of your birth, you'll be taken from her arms and carried to face your first test, one that will determine whether you live or die. The sound of heavy footsteps approaches the dwelling, sandals against stone announcing the arrival of the men who will decide your fate. 3 elder Spartans enter the room, their weathered faces bearing the scars of countless battles. These are members of the Gerousia, the council of elders who serve as judges in this most fundamental of Spartan customs. Their bronze-colored cloaks mark them as full citizens, Spartiates who have earned the right to make such life-and-death decisions through decades of military service. You're lifted from your mother's arms without ceremony. There's no gentleness in this examination. You're held like livestock being appraised for market. The elders' hands probe your small limbs, checking for any signs of weakness, deformity, or illness. They examine your muscle tone, test your reflexes, observe the strength of your cry. Your mother watches silently, knowing better than to interfere with this sacred ritual of the state. One elder runs his finger along your spine, checking for any curvature that might impede your future as a warrior. Another examines your limbs for proper proportion and strength. The third studies your face, looking for signs of mental deficiency in your eyes and responses. They speak in low, measured tones, discussing your prospects as if you were a piece of military equipment rather than a human child. These men have performed this examination countless times, their experienced eyes quickly identifying the traits that mark a future warrior. They're looking for physical perfection, for the robust constitution that will allow you to endure the brutal training that awaits, should you pass this first test. Finally, the eldest of the 3 nods slowly. You've passed. Your limbs are straight and strong, your reflexes sharp, your constitution apparently robust enough to withstand what lies ahead. But this approval comes with a price. You now belong not to your family, but to the Spartan state. Your mother will have you for 7 precious years. But even during this time, your upbringing will be dictated by Spartan custom and law. The elders depart as abruptly as they arrived, leaving you in your mother's arms once more. But both of you have been marked by this encounter. She knows that in 7 short years you'll be taken from her again, this time permanently. And you, though too young to understand, have just begun a life that will be entirely devoted to the service of Sparta. Your mother cradles you close, whispering prayers to the gods for your strength and survival. Outside, the sounds of the city continue, the clanging of bronze weapons being forged, the rhythmic chanting of older boys in training, the calls of merchants selling their wares in the agora. This is the world you've been born into, a society unlike any other in the Greek world, where every citizen's life is subordinated to the needs of the military state. As night falls over Sparta, your mother prepares for your first bath. But this won't be the gentle washing with warm water that infants receive in other Greek cities. Instead, she fills a small bronze vessel with wine, red wine that stings and burns. This is your introduction to Spartan toughening, the belief that only the strong deserve to survive. The wine bath is cold against your skin, and you cry out at the shock. But your mother doesn't comfort you with soothing words or gentle touches. Instead, she watches impassively as you struggle with the discomfort. This is your first lesson in Spartan endurance, that weakness will not be coddled, that survival depends on your ability to withstand hardship without complaint. If you were weak, if your constitution couldn't handle this harsh treatment, you would convulse and die. It's a cruel test, but one that Spartans believe necessary to weed out those unfit for the rigorous life ahead. Your mother has seen other infants fail this test, their small bodies unable to cope with the shock, but you endure, your cries eventually subsiding into whimpers, then silence. This wine bath will be repeated regularly throughout your infancy. Each time you'll grow a little stronger, a little more resistant to discomfort. Your skin will toughen, your constitution will harden, and you'll learn the fundamental Spartan lesson that survival requires endurance rather than comfort. Your sleeping arrangements reflect this same philosophy. While babies in Athens or Corinth might be swaddled in soft wool and placed in comfortable cribs, you're laid on a simple straw mat with minimal covering. The room is deliberately kept cool, sometimes cold, forcing your body to develop its own mechanisms for maintaining warmth. When winter comes, bringing the chill winds down from the Taygetus Mountains, you'll learn to sleep despite the cold, your body adapting to discomfort as a normal state of being. When you cry, and you do cry, as all infants do, your mother and the household slaves ignore you. This isn't cruelty for its own sake, but rather the deliberate conditioning of a future warrior. Spartans believe that a man who cannot endure discomfort in silence is useless in battle, where crying out might alert enemies or demoralize comrades. From your earliest days, you're learning that your needs are secondary to your duty, that personal comfort is a luxury you cannot afford. The darkness holds no terror for you, because you're never shielded from it. While children in other cities might have oil lamps burning through the night to ward off fear, you sleep in complete darkness, learning that shadows and night are simply part of existence. This conditioning will serve you well in later military campaigns, where movement under cover of darkness is essential and fear of the unseen can be fatal. Your diet during these early years is carefully controlled. Your mother nurses you, but her own diet is regulated to ensure her milk provides the proper nutrition for a future warrior. She eats barley porridge, cheese from goat's milk, olives, and occasional portions of meat, simple, nutritious fare that promotes strength rather than pleasure. When you're weaned, your food follows the same pattern. basic, nourishing, and deliberately limited in quantity. Instead of carved animals or painted clay figures, you're provided with miniature weapons, small wooden swords, tiny shields, bronze-tipped spears scaled to your size. Your play is actually training, teaching your small hands to grip weapons properly. You're developing muscles to handle the weight of military equipment. The other children in your neighborhood are undergoing the same conditioning. You see them in the agora with their mothers, all bearing the same slightly hollow look of children who have never known true comfort or indulgence. They move with a particular alertness, their eyes constantly scanning their surroundings, their postures already showing the straight-backed bearing that will mark them as Spartans throughout their lives. Your mother tells you stories, but these aren't tales of heroes rescuing princesses or magical creatures granting wishes. Instead, she recounts the deeds of great Spartan warriors, the glory of death in battle, the shame of retreat or surrender. Your earliest understanding of right and wrong is shaped by military virtues. Courage is the highest good, cowardice, the greatest sin, and death in service to Sparta, the most glorious fate possible. As you grow from infant to toddler, you begin to understand the language around you, and the words you hear most often relate to duty, strength, and service. Your vocabulary is being shaped by Spartan values before you're even aware of it. You learn that beautiful means strong and useful, that good means beneficial to the state, that shame is associated with any sign of weakness or self-indulgence. Your fourth year brings new challenges. You're now old enough to begin basic physical conditioning, though nothing compared to what awaits you at age 7. Your mother takes you on long walks through the countryside around Sparta, building your endurance and familiarizing you with the terrain you'll one day patrol as a warrior. These aren't leisurely strolls but deliberate training exercises, teaching you to maintain pace over long distances, to observe your surroundings for potential threats or advantages. You learn to swim in the cold waters of the Eurotas River, your small body struggling against currents that would challenge adults. The water is often frigid, especially in winter, but you're not allowed to complain or refuse to enter. Other boys your age join these swimming sessions, and you begin to form the bonds of brotherhood that will sustain you through the trials ahead. Together you learn that individual comfort is less important than group achievement, that helping a struggling comrade is more valuable than personal success. The food portions during these years remain deliberately modest. You're often slightly hungry, learning to function effectively despite the gnawing sensation in your stomach. This isn't malnutrition. Your diet provides adequate nutrition for healthy growth, but rather conditioning for the lean times that await every soldier. You're learning that hunger is simply another form of discomfort to be endured, rather than eliminated. Your clothing during these early years is minimal and practical. A simple tunic, sandals when necessary, and a cloak for warmth, nothing more. You're not given different outfits for different occasions, no special garments for festivals or celebrations. This simplicity serves multiple purposes. It prevents the development of vanity, reduces the temptation toward luxury, and ensures that you're always ready for physical activity, without concern for damaging fine clothing. Sleep becomes an exercise in discipline. You're put to bed at a specific time each night and expected to wake at a predetermined hour each morning, regardless of how much rest you've actually received. This irregular sleep pattern, sometimes allowing full rest and sometimes demanding function despite fatigue, prepares you for military life where sleep is a luxury often denied by the demands of campaign and battle. Your 6th year brings increased physical demands. You're now expected to carry small burdens during those long walks, building the strength that will allow you to bear full military equipment as an adult. A small pack with water and food, perhaps a miniature shield or practice sword. These items seem manageable at first, but become increasingly heavy as the miles pass. You learn to redistribute weight, to find the most efficient way to carry equipment, to keep moving even when your muscles burn with fatigue. The games you play with other children always have a competitive element. There are no activities purely for fun or relaxation. Everything is designed to identify the strongest, fastest, smartest, and most determined among your age group. These competitions create a constant pressure to excel, to prove yourself worthy of the training that awaits. Those who consistently fall behind in these childhood contests understand that their futures may be less glorious than those of their more capable peers. They provide for your needs and guide your development, but they don't indulge your wants or comfort your minor distresses. This emotional conditioning is as important as the physical hardening. You're learning that emotional resilience is as crucial as physical strength, that dependency on others for comfort is a weakness that can prove fatal in military life. The religious instruction you receive emphasizes duty to the gods and to the state. You learn the proper rituals and prayers, but always in the context of how divine favor can aid Spartan military success. The gods you're taught to revere most highly are those associated with war and victory. Ares, the god of war; Athena, the goddess of strategic warfare; Apollo, who grants victory in battle. Your spiritual life is being shaped to support your future role as a warrior. As your 7th birthday approaches, the atmosphere in your household becomes increasingly tense. Your mother's demeanor shifts subtly. She becomes more distant, preparing herself emotionally for the separation she knows is coming. Your father, if he's still alive and not away on campaign, speaks more frequently of honor and duty, preparing you mentally for the challenges ahead. The night before your 7th birthday, you sleep fitfully despite years of conditioning. Some part of you understands that tomorrow will mark the end of one phase of life and the beginning of another far more demanding. Your mother sits by your sleeping mat longer than usual, perhaps allowing herself a final few moments of maternal tenderness before you become the property of the Spartan state. These are representatives of the paidonomos, the boy herder who will oversee your education from this day forward. They're not unkind, but neither are they gentle. Their purpose is simple: to collect you and deliver you to the agagy, the comprehensive military education system that will transform you from a Spartan boy into a Spartan warrior. Your mother helps you dress in the single red cloak that will be your primary garment for the next decade. It's rough wool, dyed the color of dried blood, designed for durability rather than comfort. This cloak will become your constant companion, your bedding, your shelter, your uniform. You'll learn to wrap it in different ways for warmth or mobility, to use it as a makeshift rope or bandage, to clean your weapons with its coarse fabric. The farewell with your family is brief and formal. Your mother embraces you once, her grip firm but not lingering. She whispers a prayer for your strength and success, but she doesn't cry or beg you to write or promise to visit. This separation is absolute. While you may see your family occasionally in the future, your loyalty now belongs entirely to your military unit and your instructors. Your father, if present, offers words of encouragement focused entirely on your future military achievements. He reminds you of your lineage, of the warriors who came before you, of the honor you're expected to uphold. There's pride in his voice, but also an understanding that you're no longer his son in any practical sense. You belong to Sparta now. The walk to the Agoge barracks is your first journey as a true Spartan in training. You're joined by other 7-year-old boys, all wearing the same red cloak, all carrying the same expression of nervous determination. Some are sons of famous warriors, others the children of lesser-known soldiers. But your individual family backgrounds matter little now. What matters is your ability to survive and excel in the system that awaits. The barracks themselves are austere to the point of severity. Long, low buildings constructed of stone and timber, with narrow windows and minimal decoration. These structures are designed for function rather than comfort, housing dozens of boys in crowded Spartan conditions. Your sleeping area is a simple straw mattress on a wooden platform, with space for your few possessions beneath. Your first meal in the agoge is a shock, even after years of conditioning. The portions are noticeably smaller than what you received at home, and the food is deliberately bland and unappetizing. Black broth, a mixture of pork, blood, salt and vinegar, forms the staple of your diet, supplemented by barley bread, cheese, and occasional vegetables. The broth is so unpalatable that visitors from other Greek cities often gag when they taste it. But you'll learn to consume it without complaint, understanding that sustenance is fuel for military function rather than a source of pleasure. Your first instructor is a man in his 30s, a veteran of numerous campaigns whose body bears the scars of his service. His name is Cleomenes, and his reputation for severity is already known to you through stories told by older boys. He examines your group with the same clinical attention the elders gave you as a newborn, identifying each boy's apparent strengths and weaknesses. You are no longer children, he announces, his voice carrying the authority of absolute command. You are Spartan warriors in training. Your old lives are finished. Your families mean nothing to you now. Your comfort means nothing. Your individual desires mean nothing. You exist to serve Sparta, and Sparta will forge you into weapons worthy of that service. The rules of your new life are explained with brutal clarity. You will rise before dawn and sleep after sunset. You will eat only what is provided, wear only what is issued, speak only when spoken to. Any sign of weakness will be punished. Any display of self-indulgence will be corrected. Any failure to meet expectations will result in additional hardship until you learn to exceed those expectations. Your daily routine begins before sunrise with physical conditioning, or running, wrestling, jumping, climbing, activities designed to build strength, endurance, and agility. These exercises are performed in all weather conditions, whether the summer sun beats down mercilessly or the winter wind cuts through your single cloak. You learn to function despite discomfort, to push your body beyond what seems possible, to find reserves of strength you didn't know existed. The boy sleeping on the platform next to yours is named Alexios. He's the son of a famous general. But this gives him no special privileges in the agoge. If anything, the instructors seem harder on him, expecting him to live up to his father's reputation. You watch as he struggles with the same challenges you face, and you begin to understand that your shared suffering creates bonds stronger than family relationships. Your first week includes lessons in weapon handling, though with practice weapons rather than real bronze and iron. Wooden swords teach you proper grip and stance. Wicker shields train your arm to bear weight while maintaining protection. Blunted spear points show you the fundamentals of thrusting and parrying. Your small hands blister from gripping the rough wooden handles, but you learn to ignore the pain, understanding that soft hands mark a warrior as inexperienced and potentially unreliable. The older boys in the agoge watch your age group with a mixture of amusement and calculation. They remember their own first days in the system, the shock of transition from family life to military conditioning. Some offer subtle assistance, showing you how to wrap your cloak for maximum warmth, demonstrating more efficient ways to clean your weapons, sharing techniques for enduring punishment without breaking. Others view you as competition or potential threats, testing your resolve through minor acts of intimidation or sabotage. Your instructor Cleomenes seems to see everything, whilst when you struggle with a particular exercise, he's there to demand greater effort. When you show signs of mastering a skill, he's ready with a more challenging variation. When you appear to be forming friendships with other boys, he separates you to prevent the development of dependencies that might weaken your individual resolve. Sleep in the barracks is a luxury rarely granted in sufficient quantity. You're awakened at irregular intervals for surprise drills, unexpected inspections, or additional training sessions. Your body learns to function on minimal rest, to fall asleep instantly when opportunities arise, to remain alert and responsive despite crushing fatigue. The straw mattress that seemed uncomfortable at first begins to feel luxurious compared to sleeping on bare ground during field exercises. The food portions provided are deliberately insufficient to meet your body's needs, forcing you to supplement your diet through cleverness and stealth. You learn to observe the routines of the kitchen slaves, to identify opportunities for acquiring additional food, to move silently through darkened corridors without alerting guards or instructors. The key to successful stealing isn't avoiding the act itself, it's avoiding detection. Boys who are caught in the act of theft are beaten severely, not for stealing but for being clumsy enough to get caught. This distinction is crucial to understanding Spartan values. Initiative and resourcefulness are prized, but incompetence is despised. You must be smart enough to take what you need, and skilled enough to avoid consequences. Your first successful theft is a small piece of cheese taken from the communal stores, while the kitchen slaves are distracted. The act requires careful observation of patrol patterns, precise timing, and absolute silence. The cheese itself is less important than the proof that you can think strategically and act decisively under pressure. When you consume it later, hidden beneath your cloak in the darkness of the barracks, the taste represents more than sustenance, it represents your growing competence as a Spartan warrior. Winter brings new challenges as the temperature drops and the mountain winds howl through the gaps in the barracks walls. Your single cloak provides minimal protection against the cold, forcing you to develop techniques for conserving body heat. You learn to exercise quietly in your sleeping area to generate warmth, to share body heat with nearby boys without appearing weak or dependent, to function effectively despite the constant chill that penetrates your bones. The older boys seem unaffected by conditions that leave you shivering and miserable. They move with the same efficiency in winter as in summer, their bodies adapted to extremes through years of conditioning. You watch them carefully, studying their techniques for managing cold, hunger, and fatigue. They represent your future if you can survive the conditioning process that transforms boys into these hardened young warriors. Your 8th year brings increased expectations and more severe consequences for failure. The physical conditioning becomes more demanding, the weapons training more complex, the academic instruction more challenging. You learn basic reading and writing, not for intellectual development, but to enable you to read military orders and write brief reports. Your education focuses entirely on subjects relevant to warfare, geography for understanding battlefield terrain, mathematics for calculating distances and supplies, rhetoric for delivering clear military communications. The boy Alexios proves to be one of your most reliable companions during this period. Despite his famous father, he shows no arrogance or sense of entitlement. Instead, he works harder than most others, driven by the pressure of living up to an established reputation. You and he form the kind of partnership that Spartan training is designed to create: mutual support without emotional dependency, shared struggle without shared weakness. Your first real test of courage comes during a night exercise in the mountains around Sparta. Your age group is taken several miles from the city and abandoned with minimal supplies, expected to find your way back using only your training and natural abilities. The exercise is designed to last 3 days, but success requires not just navigation, but also the acquisition of food and water through foraging and theft from nearby settlements. The mountain terrain is harsh and unforgiving. Rocky slopes, covered with thorny scrub tear at your cloak and skin. Stream beds that show water during the day are bone dry by evening. The sounds of wolves and other predators echo through the darkness, reminding you that you're no longer under the protection of the barracks walls. On the second night of this exercise, you and Alexios work together to steal eggs from a farm several miles from your intended route. The detour costs valuable time, but the protein is essential for maintaining your strength during the return journey. You serve as lookout while he enters the chicken coop, then reverse roles as you select the best eggs for transport. The farmer's dogs bark at some disturbance, but you've both learned to move with sufficient stealth to avoid detection. Your feet, still unshod despite months of conditioning, are cut and bleeding from the rocky terrain. Your cloak is torn in several places, and your body is marked with scratches and bruises from the difficult journey. But you arrive on time, along with most of your companions, proving your readiness for the next level of training. Your 9th year introduces weapons training with real bronze and iron rather than practice wood and leather. The weight of an actual spear is shocking after months of working with lighter substitutes. The balance is different, the handling more demanding, the potential for injury much greater. Your first serious wound comes from a spear thrust that you fail to deflect properly. The bronze point opening a gash along your ribs that will leave a permanent scar. The wound is treated with wine and honey, then bandaged with strips of linen, but you're not excused from training or given time to recover. Instead, you're expected to continue your normal routine while managing the pain and limitations imposed by your injury. This becomes another lesson in Spartan endurance, that a warrior must function effectively despite wounds, illness, or other forms of physical distress. Your instructor Cleomen seems pleased rather than concerned by your wound. Now you understand what bronze can do to flesh, he tells you as he examines the bandages. Remember this feeling when you face an enemy. Your weapon should inspire the same fear in him that you felt when that spear point found your ribs. The competitive atmosphere in your age group intensifies as boys begin to distinguish themselves through superior performance or revealing themselves through consistent failure. Those who excel receive additional responsibilities and more advanced training. Those who struggle face increased scrutiny and pressure to improve. A few boys have already been identified as unlikely to complete the agoge successfully, though they won't be dismissed until their failures become undeniable. Your 10th year marks the midpoint of your basic training in the Paides division of the agoge. You're no longer the frightened 7-year-old who arrived at the barracks clutching his red cloak. Your body has developed the lean muscle and physical resilience of a young warrior, and to 7 years more the resilience of a young warrior. Your mind has adapted to the constant pressure and unpredictable demands of military life. Your spirit has been hardened through trials that would have broken the boy you once were. The food situation remains deliberately challenging. You've become expert at supplementing your official rations through theft, foraging, and trade with older boys who have access to different resources. Your body has adapted to functioning on minimal nutrition, storing energy efficiently and extracting maximum benefit from whatever sustenance is available. The constant hunger has become background sensation rather than acute distress. A new challenge this year involves extended wilderness survival exercises lasting up to a week. You're sent into the mountains or forests around Sparta with no supplies beyond your cloak and a small knife. Success requires not just navigation and foraging, but also the construction of shelter, the creation of tools from natural materials, and the ability to avoid detection by hostile forces represented by older students and instructors trying to capture you. During one such exercise, you spend 6 days living in a cave you discover in a remote ravine. Water comes from a small spring nearby, food from birds' eggs, edible plants, and a young rabbit you manage to trap using techniques learned through careful observation of hunting methods. The cave provides shelter from rain and wind, but its stone floor makes sleep difficult, and its darkness during daylight hours requires careful rationing of the small fire you maintain for warmth and cooking. Your 11th year brings introduction to formation fighting, in the coordinated movement and tactics that make Spartan phalanx warfare so effective. You learn to move in perfect synchronization with your companions, or to maintain proper spacing and alignment even while marching over difficult terrain, to respond instantly to commands that change the formation's direction or formation. This training requires not just individual skill but the ability to subsume personal instincts in favor of group effectiveness. As the boy Alexios proves exceptional at formation work, his natural leadership abilities emerging as he helps coordinate complex maneuvers. You find your own strengths lying more in individual combat skills and wilderness survival, but you learn to contribute effectively to group efforts even when they don't showcase your particular talents. The Spartan system demands excellence in all areas, not just those where individual aptitude is highest. Your weapons training now includes the full range of equipment used by Spartan warriors, the 8-foot spear that forms the primary weapon of the phalanx, the short sword used for close combat when spear work becomes impossible, the large bronze-faced shield that protects not just yourself but also the man fighting beside you. The weight of full equipment is substantial, but your body has grown strong enough to bear it without excessive fatigue. Your 12th year marks a transition toward more realistic combat training. Mock battles between different age groups test your ability to apply theoretical knowledge under pressure. These engagements use blunted weapons and leather armor, but the fighting is intense enough to result in serious injuries. You receive a concussion during one such battle when an opponent's shield rim strikes your head with unexpected force, leaving you dazed and nauseated for several days. The older boys in the Hebontis division, those aged 20 to 29, begin taking more direct interest in your development. Some serve as informal mentors, sharing insights gained through their more advanced training and early military experience. Others view you as potential competitors for future leadership positions and test your resolve through intimidation and sabotage. You learn to navigate these complex relationships while maintaining focus on your own development. Your 13th year introduces you to the brutal competition that characterizes the higher levels of Spartan training. Boys who have shown consistent excellence are given leadership roles over their age groups, while those who have struggled face the possibility of being relegated to lesser military roles, or even excluded from full Spartan citizenship. The pressure to excel becomes overwhelming, driving some boys to extreme measures in their pursuit of superiority. A boy named Nicomedes, who has struggled throughout his time in the Agoge, attempts to sabotage other students by damaging their equipment and spreading false information about training requirements. When his actions are discovered, the punishment is swift and severe. He's beaten before the entire assembly of trainees, then assigned to additional labor duties that exhaust him beyond his ability to participate effectively in regular training. Within a month, he's dismissed from the program and relegated to the Periaci class, forever excluded from full Spartan citizenship. Your 14th year brings the first serious discussions of your future specialization within the Spartan military system. Those with exceptional physical abilities are identified as potential champions for individual combat. Those with superior tactical understanding are considered for eventual leadership roles. Those with specialized skills like archery or engineering are directed towards support functions that utilize their particular talents. Your own evaluation identifies you as having potential for leadership based on your performance in complex training exercises and your ability to maintain effectiveness under extreme stress. This recognition brings additional responsibilities, but also increased scrutiny from instructors looking for any sign that you might not live up to their expectations. Your 15th year includes your first exposure to actual military operations as you accompany older warriors on patrol and reconnaissance missions. These expeditions are primarily educational, giving you opportunity to observe experienced soldiers in action and to understand the practical application of skills learned in training. But they also expose you to real danger, as the territories around Sparta are not always peaceful. During one patrol, your unit encounters a band of raiders attempting to steal livestock from a Spartan farm. The engagement is brief but intense, lasting only minutes before the raiders flee, rather than face a prolonged fight with Spartan warriors. You don't participate directly in the combat, but you see bronze weapons draw real blood, hear the sounds of men fighting for their lives, smell the distinctive odor of fear and violence that characterizes actual warfare. Your 16th year marks the final phase of your basic training in the Paides division. Your body has reached near adult proportions, though you won't achieve full physical maturity for several more years. Your skills with weapons approach those of experienced warriors, limited more by lack of battlefield experience than by technical deficiency. Your understanding of tactics and strategy has developed to the point where you can contribute meaningfully to planning discussions. Your skills with weapons approach those of experienced warriors, limited more by lack of battlefield experience than by technical deficiency. The boy Alexios has emerged as the clear leader of your age group, his combination of physical prowess, tactical intelligence, and natural charisma marking him for future high command. Your own development has been solid if less spectacular, earning respect from instructors and peers without achieving the exceptional recognition that marks potential generals and kings. Your 17th year brings transition to the Paidiskoi division, marking your advancement from basic trainee to advanced student. This change brings new privileges, but also new responsibilities. You're now expected to assist in training younger boys, passing on the skills and knowledge you've acquired through 10 years in the system. Teaching others forces you to understand your own abilities more deeply while developing the communication skills necessary for military leadership. Your new instructor is a man named Lysander, a veteran of the wars against Athens who carries the physical and psychological scars of extended campaign service. His approach is less focused on physical conditioning than on mental preparation, understanding that boys who have survived 10 years in the Agoge already possess the physical tools necessary for warfare. His emphasis is on developing the intellectual and emotional capabilities that separate good soldiers from great warriors. Strength can be taught, he tells your class during one of his first lectures. Courage can be developed, but wisdom must be earned through experience, and judgment must be refined through trial and error. My job is to provide you with opportunities to develop these higher qualities before your lives depend on them. Your weapons training now includes advanced techniques that require years to master, complex spear work that coordinates offense and defense simultaneously, sword techniques that flow seamlessly from attack to parry to counterattack, shield work that protects not just yourself, but your entire unit through coordinated movement and positioning. These skills separate Spartan warriors from the militias of other Greek cities, making individual Spartans worth several ordinary soldiers in combat effectiveness. Your 18th year includes advanced tactical training that teaches you to think like a military commander rather than just a skilled individual fighter. You learn to read terrain for tactical advantages, to coordinate movement between different types of troops, to plan logistics for extended campaigns. Mock battles between different student units test your ability to apply these concepts under pressure, with victories and defeats serving as harsh but effective teachers. The academic component of your education expands to include subjects relevant to military leadership, diplomacy for negotiating with allies and enemies, economics for understanding the resources necessary to sustain military operations, politics for comprehending the broader context within which military decisions are made. This education is practical rather than theoretical, focused entirely on applications relevant to your future role as a Spartan warrior and leader. Your 19th year marks your final year in the Paidiskoi division and your preparation for transition to full military service in the Habontes. The training becomes increasingly realistic, with exercises that closely simulate actual battlefield conditions. Balta Liorden say, you participate in extended campaigns that last weeks rather than days, learning to maintain fighting effectiveness despite the accumulated stress of prolonged military operations. During one such exercise, your unit is tasked with defending a fortified position against attacks from older students representing enemy forces. The siege lasts 12 days, during which your defenders must maintain constant vigilance while managing limited supplies of food and water. During one such exercise, your unit is tasked with defending a fortified position against Ites in Ulij DB Fender. To Lodavenda Mater, sleep becomes a luxury rationed carefully among unit members, with individuals taking turns at rest, while others maintain watch and readiness. Your final evaluation in the Paidiskoi division identifies you as ready for advancement to full military service, though with recommendations for continued development in specific areas. Your weapon skills are rated as excellent, your physical conditioning as superior, your tactical understanding as above average, and your leadership potential as promising, but requiring further experience to reach full development. Your 20th birthday marks your transition to the Habontes division, and your first assignment to an active military unit. You're no longer a student but a junior warrior, expected to contribute meaningfully to Sparta's military operations, while continuing to develop your skills through experience and advanced training. The ceremony marking your transition is simple but profound. Before dawn on the day after your birthday, you and the other boys graduating from the Paidiskoi gather in the main courtyard of the Agogi complex. Your old instructor Lysander stands before you, his weathered face showing a mixture of pride and concern. He knows that some of you will not survive the trials ahead, but the transition from training to actual military service often reveals weaknesses that the controlled environment of the Agogi could not expose. You are no longer boys pretending to be warriors, he tells the assembled group. From this day forward you are Spartan warriors, sworn to defend our city with your lives. Your training has prepared you for what lies ahead, but experience will be your true teacher. Listen to your officers, learn from your mistakes, and remember that your individual survival depends on the strength of your unit. Your first assignment is to a unit stationed along the northern borders of Spartan territory, where raids from hostile neighbors require constant vigilance. The march to your posting takes 3 days, covering mountainous terrain that tests your conditioning despite years of preparation. Your new comrades are veterans of various ages, some barely older than yourself, others grizzled warriors approaching the end of their military service. Your unit commander is a man named Pantites, a warrior in his 30s whose body bears the scars of numerous campaigns. His right shoulder shows the twisted muscle that results from a spear wound that failed to heal properly, and his left hand lacks 2 fingers lost in a skirmish with Athenian raiders. Despite these disabilities, his competence is immediately apparent in the way he moves, speaks, and observes his surroundings. Forget everything you learned in the agoge, he tells you, and the other new arrivals during your first briefing. Training teaches you to fight other Spartans under controlled conditions. Real warfare involves enemies who don't follow our rules, terrain that doesn't match practice fields, and situations that no instructor ever imagined. Your survival depends on adapting quickly to circumstances that change faster than thought. Your sleeping quarters are a far cry from the barracks of the agoge. Here you sleep in a tent shared with 3 other warriors, your possessions limited to what fits in a single pack that must be ready for immediate movement. Comfort is not a consideration. You sleep on the ground with your cloak as covering, your weapons within arm's reach at all times. The sounds of the night include not just the breathing of your tent mates, but the calls of sentries, the movement of patrols, and the subtle noises that might indicate approaching enemies. Your first week includes intensive training in the specific challenges of border warfare. Unlike the grand battles of the phalanx that dominate Spartan military theory, border fighting involves small unit actions, ambushes, rapid movement, and individual initiative. You learn to move silently through dense brush, to read tracks left by enemy scouts, to estimate the size and composition of hostile forces from minimal evidence. The veteran warrior assigned as your mentor is a man named Alcibiades, a soldier approaching 40, whose experience spans conflicts with most of Sparta's neighbors. His teaching style is practical rather than theoretical, demonstrating techniques through action rather than explanation. He shows you how to cache supplies in hidden locations, how to signal other units without alerting enemies, how to estimate distances in terrain where visual references can be deceiving. The agoge taught you to be a warrior, he explains during one of your first patrols together. Now you must learn to be a soldier. A warrior fights with courage and skill. A soldier fights with intelligence and cunning. Both are necessary, but intelligence will keep you alive longer than courage alone. Your first enemy contact comes during your 3rd week of active service. Your patrol encounters tracks, indicating that a small force has crossed into Spartan territory during the night, moving towards settlements in the valley below your position. The signs suggest perhaps a dozen men, likely raiders seeking livestock or slaves rather than a serious military threat. But any incursion requires response. Your unit splits into 2 groups to bracket the intruder's probable route of retreat. You're assigned to the blocking force positioned near a narrow pass that offers the most direct escape route toward enemy territory. The wait lasts most of the day, your muscles cramped from maintaining concealed positions among rocks and thorny brush, your throat parched from the prohibition against drinking from your water supply until absolutely necessary. When contact finally comes, it happens with shocking suddenness. The enemy force appears at the mouth of the pass, moving quickly, their attention focused behind them rather than ahead, where your unit waits in ambush. Your commander, Pantites, allows them to enter the narrow passage before signaling the attack with a sharp whistle that echoes off the stone walls. The fight is brief and decisive, caught in confined terrain with no room for maneuver. The raiders are overwhelmed within minutes. Your own contribution is minimal, a single spear thrust that wounds one enemy who immediately surrenders rather than continuing to fight. but the engagement provides your first experience of actual combat, the chaotic violence that no amount of training can fully prepare you for. The aftermath proves as educational as the fight itself. 3 raiders are dead, their bodies searched for intelligence about their origins and objectives. 5 are wounded, requiring immediate medical attention to prevent unnecessary deaths that might provide information about enemy plans. 4 escaped during the initial confusion, a failure that will require reporting to higher command and analysis to prevent future occurrences. Your unit's casualties are minimal. 2 men with minor wounds that don't require evacuation. 1 concussion from a fall during the attack that will heal within days. But the psychological impact on you is significant. The reality of bronze weapons penetrating human flesh, the sounds of men fighting for their lives, the smell of blood and fear. These sensory experiences mark your transition from trainee to combat veteran. Your second month of active service includes participation in a larger operation designed to eliminate a persistent source of raids from the territory of a hostile neighbor. Your unit joins with several others to form a force of nearly 200 warriors, the largest military formation you've yet experienced. The operation involves a 3-day march deep into enemy territory, followed by coordinated attacks on several settlements suspected of harboring raiders. The march tests your endurance, despite years of conditioning. Full military equipment weighs nearly 60 pounds, including armor, weapons, and essential supplies for extended operations. The pace is relentless, designed to reach objectives before enemy forces can organize effective resistance. Your feet, though hardened by years of barefoot training, develop new blisters within the bronze-reinforced sandals that are your first military footwear. The attack on your assigned settlement occurs just before dawn, the timing designed to catch defenders at their least alert. Your unit's objective is to secure the livestock enclosures, while other groups handle the main buildings and potential escape routes. The action unfolds with the precision of a training exercise, years of drill translated into effective combat performance. Resistance is minimal, a few armed men who flee rather than fight, women and children who offer no threat, elderly people too infirm to pose danger. Your task is to evaluate the livestock for potential seizure as compensation for damages caused by raids, while searching for evidence that might implicate the settlement in hostile activities. The work is methodical rather than violent, more akin to a legal proceeding than a military action. Your third month brings assignment to a different type of duty, service in the city of Sparta itself as part of the guard force responsible for internal security. This rotation allows you to observe civilian life from the perspective of a warrior while gaining experience in the political and social aspects of military service. The duty is less physically demanding than border patrol, but requires different skills related to crowd control, criminal apprehension, and interaction with various social classes. Your quarters during this assignment are in barracks within the city, shared with warriors from various units and backgrounds. The proximity to civilian amenities is a luxury after months of field service, though your access to these amenities remains strictly limited. You're permitted to visit family members briefly and infrequently, but your primary allegiance remains to your military unit and its requirements. Your first encounter with Helot unrest occurs during a routine patrol through one of the agricultural districts surrounding the city. A group of slaves working in the olive groves shows signs of potential organization for resistance, whispered conversations that stop when warriors approach, tools positioned as potential weapons, an attitude of sullen defiance rather than proper submission. The situation requires careful handling to prevent escalation while maintaining Spartan authority. The helots are ordered to assemble in the center of the grove for inspection and questioning. Most comply immediately, their conditioning overwhelmed by ingrained fear of Spartan retribution. But a few show signs of resistance, gathering near the olive press where agricultural tools could serve as improvised weapons. The confrontation is resolved through demonstration of overwhelming force rather than actual violence. Additional Spartan units arrive quickly, surrounding the grove and making resistance obviously futile. The potential leaders of the disturbance are identified and removed for questioning, while the remainder are dispersed to different work sites to prevent future organization. No blood is shed, but the threat of violence permeates every interaction. Your 4th month includes specialized training in urban warfare techniques relevant to your internal security duties. Fighting in built-up areas requires different skills than open-field combat or wilderness operations. Your 4th month includes specialized training in urban warfare technique. Your 4th month includes specialized training in urban warfare technique. You learn to clear buildings systematically, to use architectural features for tactical advantage, to minimize civilian casualties while maintaining operational effectiveness. These skills prove relevant not just for internal security, but for potential siege operations against enemy cities. The social dynamics of Spartan society become more apparent during your urban service. You observe the interactions between different classes, the casual authority of full citizens, the respectful deference of the Periaci, the fearful submission of the Helots. Your own position in this hierarchy is unique. You're clearly above the non-citizen classes, but still subordinate to older warriors and civilian officials. Your interaction with Spartan women during this period is limited, but educational. You encounter them primarily in official contexts, at religious ceremonies where warriors provide security, during market inspections where your presence ensures proper order, at public gatherings where crowd control is necessary. Their bearing is noticeably different from women in other Greek cities, showing confidence and physical capability that reflects their own rigorous upbringing. Your 5th month brings unexpected assignment to a diplomatic mission, escorting Spartan ambassadors to negotiations with representatives of several allied cities. This duty exposes you to the political complexities that shape military operations, helping you understand the broader context within which individual battles and campaigns occur. The experience proves valuable for your development as a potential leader, though the diplomatic aspects remain largely beyond your current responsibilities. The journey to the meeting site takes you through territories controlled by various Greek city-states, each with its own military traditions and social customs. You observe differences in equipment, training, and bearing that help you understand why Spartan warriors are generally considered superior to their counterparts elsewhere. The comparison reinforces your pride in your own development, while revealing areas where other societies might hold advantages. Your 6th month marks your transition to a more senior role within your unit, as newer warriors arrive from the Agoj and require mentoring. Teaching others forces you to analyze your own skills more carefully while developing the communication abilities necessary for military leadership. You find satisfaction in helping younger warriors avoid mistakes you made during your own early service, though you're careful not to become too emotionally invested in their individual success or failure. Your new protege is a young warrior named Theron, recently graduated from the Pei Discoy division, with exceptional ratings in physical conditioning but limited practical experience. His eagerness reminds you of your own first days of active service, though his confidence sometimes exceeds his actual capabilities. Your challenge is to channel his enthusiasm productively while ensuring that overconfidence doesn't lead to dangerous mistakes. Remember that enemies don't fight like Agoj instructors. You tell him during one of his first patrols. They won't stop when you make a mistake or give you another chance when you fail. Real combat forgives nothing, and teaches through consequences you can't survive. Better to learn caution now than courage later. Your 7th month includes participation in a major field exercise involving several thousand Spartan warriors practicing coordinated operations on a scale approaching actual warfare. The exercise tests your ability to function as part of a large formation while maintaining the small unit skills you've developed through border service. The experience provides insight into the logistical challenges of major military operations and the complexity of coordinating diverse military units. The exercise scenario involves the defense of Spartan territory against a simulated invasion force represented by allied units operating under different tactical doctrine. Your role is to conduct reconnaissance and harassment operations designed to disrupt enemy advance while providing intelligence for the main defensive force. The assignment requires initiative and independent judgment while maintaining coordination with the overall defensive plan. Your 8th month brings assignment to ceremonial duties during religious festivals and state occasions. While less physically demanding than combat operations, these duties require different skills related to crowd management, protocol observance, and interaction with civilian officials. The experience broadens your understanding of Spartan society while providing exposure to the political and religious institutions that shape military policy. Your participation in the Gymnopaedia Festival provides your first direct observation of Spartan women's athletic competitions. The nude athletic contests demonstrate physical capabilities that rival those of male warriors, reinforcing your understanding of why Spartan women enjoy greater freedom and respect than their counterparts in other Greek cities. Their strength and conditioning are clearly products of systematic training rather than natural gifts. Your 9th month includes advanced weapons training with specialists who have developed expertise beyond standard military requirements. You learn techniques for fighting in various environments and conditions, specialized applications of standard weapons, and methods for maintaining equipment under adverse conditions. The training is intensive and demanding, pushing your skills beyond what general military service requires. Your work with the weapons specialists reveals areas where your individual capabilities can be enhanced through focused training. Your spear work, already excellent by general standards, benefits from instruction in advanced techniques used by elite warriors. Your sword skills, adequate for most situations, improve through exposure to methods developed through extensive combat experience. Your shield work, functional but basic, gains sophistication through training in formation-specific applications. Your 10th month brings rotation back to border duty, but now in a senior role with responsibility for training and leading newer warriors. The contrast with your first border assignment is striking, where once you struggled to keep pace with veterans, you now set the standard for others to follow. Your confidence has grown through experience, though you've learnt to temper it with realistic assessment of your own limitations. Your challenge is to mold them into an effective team while completing assigned missions that require coordinated effort. Ordered, the responsibility weighs heavily, knowing that mistakes in leadership can cost lives rather than just affecting individual performance ratings. Your first independent mission involves investigating reports of unusual activity in a remote valley that might indicate enemy reconnaissance or preparation for raids. The mission requires 3 days of movement through difficult terrain, careful observation without detection, and accurate reporting of findings. Success depends on your ability to coordinate your team's efforts while making sound tactical decisions under uncertain conditions. The investigation reveals evidence of recent enemy presence, but no immediate threat. Tracks indicate that a small scouting force passed through the area several days earlier, apparently conducting route reconnaissance for potential future operations. Your report provides intelligence that will influence defensive preparations, though the immediate threat level remains low. Your 11th month includes participation in a joint operation with forces from allied cities, providing experience in coordinating with military units that operate under different tactical doctrine and command structures. The exercise reveals both strengths and weaknesses in intercity cooperation, while exposing you to alternative approaches to military problems. The experience proves valuable for your understanding of broader strategic issues. Your work with Allied forces highlights the advantages of Spartan military training, while revealing areas where other approaches might offer benefits. The superior individual skills of Spartan warriors are evident, but some Allied units demonstrate innovations in equipment or tactics that merit consideration. Your observations contribute to reports that may influence future training and equipment decisions. Your 12th month brings assignment to instructional duties at the Agoge, completing the cycle by returning you to the institution where your own military development began. Your role is to assist in training boys in the Paides division, sharing practical knowledge gained through active service while helping to refine training methods based on operational experience. The assignment provides perspective on your own development while contributing to the preparation of future warriors. Working with young trainees reminds you of your own struggles during early Agoge training, though your perspective has changed dramatically. Where once the demands seemed impossibly harsh, you now understand their purpose and necessity. Where once you resented the strictures imposed by instructors, you now appreciate the foundation they provided for your later success. The transformation from trainee to instructor marks another step in your development as a Spartan warrior. Your interaction with boys currently undergoing the conditioning you experienced years earlier provides insight into the effectiveness of different training methods. You observe which techniques produce desired results and which might benefit from modification based on practical experience. Your recommendations contribute to ongoing refinement of training procedures, ensuring that future warriors benefit from lessons learned through operational experience. As your first year of active military service draws toward completion, you reflect on the transformation you've undergone since leaving the controlled environment of the Agoge. Your skills have been tested under conditions that no training could fully simulate. Your judgment has been refined through decisions that carried real consequences. Your understanding of warfare has evolved from theoretical knowledge to practical expertise gained through direct experience. Your relationship with your family, strained by years of separation during Agoge training, has evolved into something entirely different. You're no longer the boy who left their household at age 7. Nor are they the same people who raised you during your early years. The emotional distance created by military conditioning makes intimate family relationships difficult, though mutual respect and shared pride in your achievements provide a foundation for continued connection. Your 20th year marks your eligibility for marriage, though the practical realities of military service make establishing a household challenging. Spartan law requires warriors to live in military barracks until age 30, limiting opportunities for normal family life. Marriages occur frequently among young warriors, but the relationships must accommodate the demands of military service and the possibility of death in combat. Your consideration of potential marriage partners reflects Spartan values emphasizing physical capability, intellectual strength, and compatibility with military life. Spartan women's education and conditioning make them suitable companions for warriors capable of managing households independently and raising children according to Spartan customs. The decision involves practical considerations as much as emotional attraction. Your 21st year brings increased responsibilities as you advance within the military hierarchy. Your success during the first year of active service has marked you as a potential leader, earning assignments that test your capability for greater responsibility. The transition from follower to leader requires development of new skills while maintaining the technical competence that earned your promotion. Your assignment to command a section of newer warriors tests your ability to balance competing demands of mission accomplishment, troop welfare, and personal development. The young warriors under your command look to you for guidance and example, requiring you to maintain standards while providing the support necessary for their continued growth. The responsibility is both privilege and burden, offering satisfaction through successful leadership while creating anxiety about potential failures. Your first major test as a section leader comes during a complex operation involving coordination between multiple units in response to a significant enemy incursion. Your role is to provide flank security for the main force while maintaining communication with adjacent units and reacting to changing tactical situations. Success requires not just personal competence, but the ability to direct others effectively under pressure. The operation unfolds over 5 days, involving movement through varied terrain under conditions that test both physical endurance and tactical flexibility. Your section's performance meets expectations, contributing to overall mission success while providing valuable experience for the warriors under your command. The recognition you receive for effective leadership marks another step in your development as a Spartan warrior and future commander. Your 22nd year includes assignment to increasingly complex operations that test your growing leadership capabilities, while exposing you to the broader strategic considerations that shape military policy. Your understanding of warfare expands beyond tactical concerns to encompass logistical, political, and economic factors that influence military decision-making. The education continues through experience rather than formal instruction, but its impact on your development is profound. Your participation in planning sessions for major operations provides insight into the complexity of coordinating large-scale military activities. Factors that seemed simple from a junior warrior's perspective, movement, supply, communication, coordination, reveal themselves as intricate challenges requiring expertise developed through years of experience. Your growing appreciation for these complexities enhances your effectiveness as a subordinate leader while preparing you for future command responsibilities. Your 23rd year brings assignment to specialized duties that utilize your particular strengths while broadening your experience base. Your demonstrated competence in reconnaissance and small unit operations leads to assignments requiring independent judgment and initiative. The trust placed in you by senior commanders reflects their confidence in your development while providing opportunities for continued growth. Your marriage during this year to a young Spartan woman named Penthesilea represents a significant milestone in your personal development. Her own education and conditioning have prepared her for the unique challenges of marriage to a Spartan warrior. Your relationship must accommodate the demands of military service while providing the foundation for raising future warriors according to Spartan customs and values. Your wife's understanding of military life makes the relationship workable despite the constraints imposed by your continued residence in military barracks. Her independence and capability allow her to manage household affairs without constant support, while her physical and intellectual strength make her a suitable companion for a Spartan warrior. The marriage represents partnership rather than dependence, reflecting Spartan values that emphasize mutual strength rather than traditional gender roles. Your 24th year includes assignment to duties that require extended separation from Sparta, testing both your military capabilities and your personal relationships. Campaign service in distant territories provides experience in sustained operations while challenging your ability to maintain effectiveness despite the psychological stress of prolonged combat conditions. The assignment represents recognition of your growing competence while offering opportunities for further development. Your performance during extended campaign service confirms your suitability for continued advancement within the Spartan military hierarchy. Your technical skills, leadership abilities, and psychological resilience have all been tested under demanding conditions and found adequate for future challenges. The experience provides confidence in your own capabilities while revealing areas requiring continued development. Your 25th year marks the midpoint of your service in the Habontes division and your emergence as a fully mature Spartan warrior. Your skills have been refined through years of practical application, your judgment sharpened through decisions carrying real consequences, your leadership abilities developed through progressive responsibility for other warriors' lives and welfare. You've become the type of veteran you once observed with awe during your early days in active service. Your assignment to train and evaluate newer warriors brings your development full circle, requiring you to pass on knowledge and skills gained through years of experience while helping to identify and develop future leaders. The responsibility connects you to the ongoing tradition of Spartan military excellence while contributing to the preparation of warriors who will serve long after your own active career ends. As you sit by the small fire in your current field position, watching younger warriors sleep nearby, you reflect on the journey that has brought you to this point. The frightened 7-year-old who entered the Agoge 18 years ago seems like a different person, though the fundamental values instilled during those early years remain the foundation of your identity. You've learned that being a Spartan means more than just fighting effectively. It requires the subordination of individual desires to collective needs, the acceptance of hardship as a normal condition of existence, and the willingness to sacrifice personal comfort for the greater good of the state. The stars overhead are the same ones that shone on your first night in the Agoge barracks, though your perspective on them has changed dramatically. Where once they represented the unknown future that awaited beyond the controlled environment of training, they now illuminate a world you've learned to navigate through skill, determination, and the bonds of brotherhood forged through shared struggle. Tomorrow will bring new challenges, as every day has since you first put on the red cloak of a Spartan warrior in training. But you face them now with the confidence of experience and the knowledge that you've earned your place among the warriors of Sparta through years of trial and testing. The fire burns low, and you add another piece of wood to maintain the warmth that helps you think clearly during these quiet watches. Around you the sounds of the night continue, the breathing of sleeping warriors, the calls of sentries maintaining their vigil, the subtle sounds that might indicate movement in the darkness beyond your position. These sounds have become as familiar as your own heartbeat, part of the rhythm of military life that has shaped every day of your existence since childhood. Your hand rests on the spear that has been your constant companion throughout your military service, its bronze point reflecting the firelight with the dull gleam of well-maintained metal. The weapon has saved your life in combat and taken the lives of enemies who threatened Sparta and its citizens. It represents the practical reality of your existence as a warrior, while symbolizing the values that define Spartan society: strength, skill, and unwavering commitment to duty, above all other considerations. In a few hours, dawn will break over the mountains, bringing another day of service to the city-state that has been both your home and your master since birth. The day will bring its own challenges and opportunities, as every day has throughout your life as a Spartan warrior. But tonight, in the quiet darkness, illuminated only by dying embers, you are exactly what Sparta intended you to become: a weapon forged through decades of hardship and conditioning, shaped by tradition and tested by experience, ready to face whatever the morning may bring in service to the state that created you. Your 26th year brings assignment to the Royal Guard, a position reserved for warriors who have demonstrated exceptional competence and unwavering loyalty to the Spartan state. Service in the Guard requires you to protect the dual kings of Sparta, a responsibility that places you at the center of political and military decision-making, while exposing you to the complexities of leadership at the highest levels. The assignment represents recognition of your development, while providing opportunities for continued growth. Your quarters in the Royal Guard are more comfortable than field accommodations, but still austere by the standards of other Greek cities. A small room within the palace complex provides privacy you haven't enjoyed since childhood, though your possessions remain limited to what fits in a single chest. The proximity to power requires different skills than battlefield leadership, demanding discretion, political awareness, and the ability to function effectively in ceremonial as well as combat roles. Your first day of guard duty involves protecting King Leonidas during a council session where military strategy is debated by senior commanders and civilian officials. Standing motionless for hours while remaining alert to potential threats tests your discipline in new ways. The discussions you overhear provide insight into strategic considerations that shape the tactical decisions you've been implementing throughout your career. The political dynamics within the royal court prove as complex as military operations, requiring careful navigation to avoid becoming entangled in factional disputes. Your role is to provide security rather than participate in decision-making, but the knowledge you gain through observation enhances your understanding of the broader context within which military actions occur. The experience proves valuable for your development as a potential senior leader. Your interaction with King Leonidas during routine guard duties reveals the personal qualities that make him an effective leader. His physical bearing reflects years of military conditioning similar to your own, but his intellectual capabilities and political acumen extend far beyond warrior skills. His treatment of subordinates demonstrates leadership principles that you file away for future application. A king must be first among equals, not above them, he tells you during one quiet moment between official duties. Power without respect is tyranny, and tyranny breeds rebellion. A Spartan king leads through example, not through coercion. Remember this when you command others. Authority comes from competence, not from rank alone. Your 27th year includes assignment to train elite units, preparing for specialized operations requiring skills beyond standard military capabilities. Your experience in reconnaissance, small unit operations, and independent command makes you valuable for developing capabilities needed for unconventional warfare. The assignment tests your ability to innovate within traditional Spartan military doctrine while maintaining the discipline and effectiveness that characterize Spartan forces. Your work with elite units reveals the importance of adapting traditional tactics to meet evolving threats and opportunities. While Spartan phalanx warfare remains the foundation of military strategy, changing political conditions require capabilities for operations that don't fit standard formations. Your challenge is to develop these capabilities without undermining the cohesion and discipline that make Spartan forces effective. The warriors selected for elite training represent the best products of the Spartan system, but their individual excellence must be channeled into effective team performance. Your role is to identify combinations of skills and personalities that work well together, while developing specialized techniques for operations requiring exceptional coordination and initiative. The work is intellectually demanding in ways that standard military service rarely requires. Your training methods emphasize problem solving under extreme stress, forcing elite warriors to function effectively when standard procedures prove inadequate. Mock operations include scenarios designed to test adaptability, innovation, and leadership under conditions that simulate the chaos and uncertainty of unconventional warfare. Success requires not just physical competence, but intellectual flexibility and emotional resilience. Your 28th year brings assignment to diplomatic missions that require military escort for Spartan negotiators dealing with foreign powers. These assignments expose you to international politics, while providing opportunities to observe military systems and social structures in other Greek cities. The experience broadens your perspective while enhancing your value as a military leader capable of understanding complex political and strategic relationships. Your travel to Athens as part of a diplomatic mission provides stark contrast with Spartan society and military organization. Athenian warriors show individual skill but lack the cohesion and discipline that characterize Spartan forces. Their equipment is often superior in quality and innovation, but their training emphasizes different values that produce different capabilities. The comparison reinforces your pride in Spartan methods while revealing areas where adaptation might prove beneficial. Your observation of Athenian political processes reveals both strengths and weaknesses in democratic decision-making compared to Spartan systems. The debate and discussion that characterize Athenian governance allow for consideration of diverse perspectives, but also create opportunities for paralysis and contradiction. Your reports on these observations contribute to strategic planning for potential future conflicts with Athens. Your interaction with Athenian military leaders during formal receptions provides insight into their strategic thinking and tactical preferences. Their emphasis on naval warfare reflects geographic and economic realities different from Sparta's land-based focus, but their innovations in siege warfare and logistics offer lessons that might prove valuable for Spartan operations. Your conversations remain diplomatic, but you gather intelligence that will inform future military planning. Your 29th year includes assignment to lead major training exercises designed to prepare Spartan forces for large-scale operations against potential enemies. Your role requires coordination between multiple units, while ensuring that training objectives are met without excessive casualties or equipment damage. The responsibility tests your organizational abilities, while providing experience in the logistical challenges of major military operations. The training exercises you design emphasize realistic conditions that test unit cohesion under stress, while identifying weaknesses in equipment, procedures, or leadership. Your scenarios incorporate lessons learned from recent operations while anticipating challenges that might arise in future conflicts. The exercises provide valuable experience for participating units, while generating information useful for strategic planning. Your evaluation of unit performance during exercises reveals variations in capability that reflect differences in leadership, training emphasis, and unit history. Some units demonstrate exceptional competence across all mission areas, while others show strengths in specific capabilities, but weaknesses that limit overall effectiveness. Your recommendations for addressing these disparities influence training priorities and personnel assignments. Your work with senior commanders during exercise planning provides insight into strategic considerations that shape military doctrine and force structure. The discussions reveal tensions between traditional Spartan approaches and innovations needed to address evolving threats. Your perspective as a field commander who has experienced both conventional and unconventional operations makes your input valuable for senior decision makers. Your 30th birthday marks your transition from mandatory barracks residence to eligibility for independent living. Though your military obligations continue unchanged, the privilege of establishing your own household represents recognition of your maturity and status, while providing opportunities for normal family life that have been denied throughout your military career. The transition requires adjustment to domestic responsibilities that military service has not prepared you for. Your establishment of a household with your wife Penthesilea reveals challenges you haven't previously encountered. Managing domestic affairs while maintaining military readiness requires skills that the Agoge never taught. Your wife's capabilities prove essential for success, her education and conditioning having prepared her for the independence required of a Spartan warrior's spouse. Your first child arrives during your 30th year, a son whose birth represents continuation of the cycle that has defined your own life. The infant's future path is already determined by his gender and citizenship status. If he survives the initial inspection and early conditioning, he will follow the same progression through the Agoge that shaped your own development. Your role as a father is limited but important, providing an example of Spartan values while supporting his preparation for military service. Your wife's handling of childbirth and early child-rearing demonstrates the practical value of Spartan women's physical conditioning and education. Her strength and competence allow her to manage these responsibilities without assistance, while maintaining her own fitness and capability. The partnership you've developed reflects Spartan ideals of mutual strength rather than traditional dependency relationships. Your 31st year brings assignment to command a full company of warriors, representing recognition of your leadership capabilities and readiness for major command responsibility. The assignment requires coordination of multiple units, while maintaining the tactical flexibility and that characterizes effective Spartan operations. Your challenge is to balance competing demands of unit efficiency, individual development, and mission accomplishment. Your company includes warriors of various experience levels, from recent Agoge graduates to veterans approaching the end of their military service. Integrating these diverse capabilities into an effective fighting force requires understanding each warrior's strengths and limitations, while maintaining unit cohesion. Your success depends on developing trust and confidence, while demanding the performance standards that Spartan military effectiveness requires. Your first major operation as company commander involves response to a significant raid that has penetrated deep into Spartan territory. The enemy force is larger and better organized than typical raiders, suggesting coordination with hostile powers rather than opportunistic brigandage. Your mission is to intercept and destroy the enemy force while minimizing civilian casualties and property damage. The operation unfolds over 8 days, involving pursuit through mountainous terrain that tests your unit's endurance and tactical flexibility. Your company's performance meets expectations, successfully engaging and defeating the enemy force while demonstrating the coordination and discipline that characterize well-led Spartan units. The success enhances your reputation while providing valuable experience for the warriors under your command. Your 32nd year includes assignment to participate in strategic planning for potential major conflicts with Sparta's traditional enemies. Your experience as a field commander makes your input valuable for assessing the feasibility of proposed operations, while your understanding of unit capabilities helps inform force structure decisions. The assignment provides insight into the complexity of strategic planning while enhancing your preparation for senior command positions. Your participation in wargaming exercises designed to test strategic concepts reveals the intellectual demands of high-level military leadership. Success requires not just tactical competence, but understanding of logistics, politics, economics, and diplomacy. Your education continues through practical experience rather than formal instruction, but the learning curve is steep and demanding. Your interaction with senior commanders during planning sessions provides models for leadership at levels you aspire to reach. Their decision-making processes, communication styles, and approaches to problem-solving offer lessons that you incorporate into your own leadership development. The mentorship is informal but valuable, accelerating your preparation for greater responsibility. Your analysis of potential enemy capabilities and intentions requires skills that extend beyond traditional military competence. Understanding foreign political systems, economic constraints, and social dynamics becomes essential for accurate assessment of threats and opportunities. Your reports contribute to strategic intelligence while enhancing your value as a potential senior leader. Your 33rd year brings assignment to lead joint operations involving Spartan forces and allied units from other Greek cities. The challenge requires coordination between forces with different training, equipment, and tactical doctrine, while maintaining the effectiveness that characterizes Spartan military operations. Success depends on your ability to adapt Spartan methods to accommodate allied capabilities without compromising essential standards. Your work with allied commanders reveals both advantages and limitations of Spartan military doctrine when applied to coalition operations. Spartan superiority in individual warrior quality and unit discipline is evident, but coordination with forces operating under different principles requires flexibility that challenges traditional approaches. Your innovations in joint operations contribute to evolving Spartan doctrine while maintaining essential capabilities. Your evaluation of allied military capabilities provides intelligence valuable for future strategic planning, while building relationships that may prove important in future conflicts. The experience enhances your understanding of the broader Greek military environment, while developing skills needed for senior command positions that require coordination with political and military leaders from other cities. Your success in joint operations leads to assignment as liaison with allied forces during major strategic planning conferences. Your role requires representing Spartan interests while building consensus for coordinated action against common threats. The diplomatic skills required prove different from but complementary to traditional military leadership capabilities. Your 34th year includes assignment to oversee major changes in Spartan military training designed to address evolving threats and opportunities. Your experience as both a product of the traditional system and an innovator in tactical development makes you valuable for balancing continuity with necessary adaptation. The assignment tests your ability to influence institutional change while maintaining the effectiveness that characterizes Spartan military culture. Your recommendations for training modifications reflect lessons learned through extensive field experience, while respecting the traditions that have made Spartan warriors legendary throughout the Greek world. The challenge is to enhance capabilities without undermining the discipline and cohesion that provide Spartan forces with decisive advantages over their enemies. Your implementation of training changes requires careful management of resistance from traditionals who view any modification as potential weakening of Spartan military effectiveness. Your approach emphasizes demonstrable improvements in capability while maintaining essential elements of traditional training. Success requires diplomatic skills as much as military competence. Your evaluation of training effectiveness provides evidence supporting continued evolution of Spartan military doctrine while identifying areas where traditional approaches remain optimal. Your reports influence decisions about resource allocation and institutional priorities while contributing to ongoing debates about military reform. Your 35th year brings assignment to command multiple companies during complex operations, requiring coordination between diverse units and mission objectives. The responsibility represents near senior command level, while testing your readiness for positions of strategic, rather than tactical responsibility. Your success influences decisions about your suitability for advancement to the highest levels of military leadership. Your coordination of multi-company operations reveals the complexity of managing large-scale military activities, while maintaining the tactical flexibility that characterizes effective Spartan forces. Success requires understanding of logistics, communications, and coordination that extends far beyond individual unit leadership. The experience provides essential preparation for senior command positions. Your interaction with civilian officials during major operations provides insight into the relationship between military and political leadership in Spartan society. Understanding these relationships becomes essential for effective performance at senior levels, where military decisions have political implications and political considerations influence military planning. Your analysis of operational effectiveness identifies areas where Spartan military doctrine might benefit from modification, while reinforcing elements that provide decisive advantages. Your recommendations influence strategic planning while contributing to ongoing evolution of Spartan military capabilities. As you approach your 40th year, the accumulated experience of nearly 2 decades in active military service has transformed you into the type of senior leader you once observed with awe during your early days as a young warrior. Your understanding of warfare extends from individual combat skills to strategic considerations that shape the fate of city-states. Your leadership capabilities have been tested under conditions that proved your readiness for the highest levels of responsibility. Your reflection on the journey from 7-year-old trainee to senior military leader reveals the effectiveness of the Spartan system in producing warriors capable of defending the state against all threats. The hardships you endured, the challenges you overcame, and the skills you developed have prepared you for responsibilities that extend far beyond individual survival or unit effectiveness. Your legacy lies not just in your own achievements, but in the warriors you have trained and led throughout your career. The young men who served under your command carry forward the knowledge and skills you shared with them, extending the tradition of Spartan military excellence into the next generation. Your influence on their development represents your contribution to the continuing strength of the Spartan state. The stars overhead continue their eternal watch as you sit by the dying fire, contemplating the path that brought you to this moment and the challenges that lie ahead. Tomorrow will bring new responsibilities and opportunities, as every day has throughout your life as a Spartan warrior. The boy who entered the Ogoj 3 decades ago has become the man Sparta intended him to be, a guardian of the state, a leader of warriors, and a living embodiment of the values that have made Sparta the most feared military power in the Greek world. Your hand still rests on the spear that has been your constant companion, its familiar weight, a reminder of the practical realities that underlie all the political and strategic complexities of your current responsibilities. At its core, military leadership remains about warriors like yourself, armed with bronze and iron, willing to face death in service to their city-state. All the planning and coordination and innovation ultimately come down to individual Spartans standing in formation, shields locked together, spears leveled at the enemy, ready to prove once again that Spartan warriors are worth any number of their opponents. The fire burns lower, and you add another piece of wood, watching the flames dance against the darkness that surrounds your position. In the distance, a wolf howls somewhere in the mountains, its cry echoing off the stone peaks that have watched over Sparta since the first warriors established their city in this harsh but defensible terrain. The sound reminds you that you are part of a tradition that extends back generations, that the values and skills you have developed connect you to warriors who came before and will be passed on to those who come after. Your wife and son sleep safely in your household within the city, protected by walls and warriors, and the reputation that keeps Sparta's enemies at respectful distance. Your son will begin his own journey through the agoge in just a few short years, following the same path that shaped your own development, while benefiting from the innovations and improvements you have helped to implement. The cycle continues, each generation building on the achievements of their predecessors, while adapting to meet new challenges and opportunities. The night air carries the scents of pine and stone, olive groves and cooking fires, the familiar smells of home that remind you why the hardships and sacrifices of military life are worthwhile. Sparta is more than just a city-state to be defended. It is a way of life that has produced the finest warriors the world has ever known. A society that values excellence over comfort, duty over personal desire, collective strength over individual achievement. As dawn approaches and your watch draws toward its end, you prepare for another day of service to the state that created you, shaped you, and continues to depend on you for its survival and prosperity. The responsibilities are heavier now than they were when you first put on the red cloak of a Spartan trainee, but your shoulders have grown stronger with each year of service. You are ready for whatever challenges the day may bring, confident in your abilities and secure in your purpose as a guardian of Sparta and its way of life.